Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cutting through all the noise. I'm your host, and I'm going to give you the direct, completely unfiltered truth about breaking out of that exhausting paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and building genuine, lasting wealth. We are stripping away the hype and looking exclusively at the data and strategies derived from our source material today. So whether you're deep in debt, struggling to save on a tight income, or just trying to figure out how to avoid retiring broke, this Explainer is your comprehensive guide. Let's get to it.
Look, right out of the gate, we've got to shatter a massive illusion. The version of wealth you see all over social media. You know, the luxury cars, the designer clothes, the endless vacations. It's just a carefully crafted aesthetic. It's designed to make you feel like wealth is all about the flash and the flex. But the real truth? Drip does not build wealth. Discipline does. Real financial success is built through unglamorous, highly consistent, everyday discipline behind the scenes.
Here's our roadmap for this Explainer. 1. The real definition of wealth. 2. Facing your financial reality. 3. Building your wealth systems. 4. The compound interest advantage. And 5. The price of true freedom.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the real definition of wealth.
There is a huge difference between looking rich and actually being rich. The folks who are quietly building generational wealth, they're usually the ones driving used cars and living in perfectly modest homes. They're making boring, incredibly smart decisions like automating their investments. What they are not doing is funding a highlight reel with high-interest credit card debt. That flashy lifestyle you see online is very often just debt dressed up as success.
You see, income is really just the raw material. You could be making $200,000 a year, but if you have what we call a leaky bucket, meaning that high income is paired with absolutely zero financial discipline, that money just drains right out into constant lifestyle upgrades. You end up with zero net worth. True wealth is determined by what you keep and what you grow, not just what you earn.
Which brings us to Section 2, facing your financial reality.
Okay, it is time for some financial triage. Before you can attack your debt, you have to follow these 3 steps. Step 1 is the debt inventory. You need to write down every single thing you owe, the interest rates and the minimums. Look right at it, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Step 2, stop the bleeding. You have to commit to zero new debt. Cut up the cards if you have to, because honestly, you cannot bail water out of a sinking boat without plugging the hole first. And step 3, build a $1,000 firewall. This is just a small emergency buffer to handle unexpected curveballs so you aren't forced to swipe a credit card the second a tire goes flat.
Now, when you're ready to destroy that debt, you basically have 2 main methods. The avalanche method targets your highest interest rate first. Mathematically speaking, it absolutely saves you the most money, but it can feel a little slow. Then there's the snowball method. This one targets your smallest balance first. Sure, it might cost a bit more in interest over time, but it gives you massive psychological quick wins. The trick here? Choose the strategy that fits your own personal psychology. Throw every extra dollar at it and treat unexpected windfalls, like a tax refund, as pure jet fuel to accelerate your escape.
Moving right along to Section 3, building your wealth systems.
Listen, a budget is not a prison. Think of it as a strategic playbook. The 50-30-20 rule is incredibly effective for this. Dividing your income into this clean structure, 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% strictly for savings and investments allows you to tell your money exactly where to go instead of wondering where it all went. It puts you in total control of the whole shebang. To protect that new budget, you've got to implement the 24-hour rule for any non-essential purchase. When you want something, step away for a full 24 hours. Ask yourself if it's really more important than your savings goal. This simple little system completely kills willpower fatigue. It forces you to step away from the Amazon cart and realize that most impulse buys are just dopamine hits dressed up as absolute needs.
Now, what if things are super tight right now? Well, even on a strict income, you can find hidden cash. Automate your savings the exact day your paycheck hits. Ruthlessly audit your subscriptions weekly. Yep, I said weekly, not monthly. Meal planning and cooking at home can literally save you thousands of dollars a year. And if you struggle with problem spending in certain categories, switch to an old-school physical cash envelope system. Once the cash in that envelope is gone, it is gone.
All of these habits culminate in a 30-day discipline blueprint. Because discipline isn't about just gritting your teeth forever, right? It's about following these progressive phases. You start with a brutal audit. Then you automate your priorities to completely remove willpower from the equation. Next, you test yourself with a no-spend challenge. And finally, phase 4, you shift your identity. You stop trying to be disciplined, and you start actually identifying as a financially disciplined person. Your behavior will naturally follow your identity.
Section 4. The Compound Interest Advantage.
Time is, without a doubt, your most ruthless multiplier. Get this. If you invest just $200 a month starting at age 22 and then stop completely at age 32, you will retire with more wealth than someone who invests $200 a month for 30 uninterrupted years starting at age 32. Think about that. Just 10 years of early investing absolutely destroys 30 years of later investing purely because of the sheer staggering math of compounding.
So, what is the actual end goal of all this compounding? To ensure you don't end up retiring broke, you have to calculate your target. A comfortable retirement typically requires accumulating 25 to 30 times your annual living expenses. If you figure you need $50,000 a year to live, you need about $1.25 million invested. You simply cannot hit a target that you haven't calculated.
And to hit that massive 25x multiplier, you've got to dodge some serious retirement killers. You absolutely cannot rely solely on a broken system like Social Security, or ignore the estimated $300,000 to $400,000 in looming healthcare costs for retirees. You must build your own assets. Take every single dollar of that free employer match, and above all else, never panic sell when the market naturally dips. Manage your future with logic, not emotion. Finally, Section 5. The price of true freedom.
The wealth gap is really just the space between what you earn and what you spend. Every single time your income goes up and you immediately upgrade your lifestyle to match it, you are directly robbing your future self. Because of compound interest, spending an extra $500 a month today doesn't just cost you $6,000 a year. Over a career, it costs you over $1 million in lost compound returns.
So, we lock in these unbreakable rules. Pay yourself first. Protect your savings from your own impulses by keeping them in hard-to-reach accounts. Run your own race instead of trying to keep up with peers whose actual financial reality, and let's be honest, hidden credit card debt, you don't even know. And most importantly, know your why. You need it to sustain the short-term sacrifices required for long-term peace.
Ultimately, wealth isn't about buying things. It is entirely about buying freedom. The freedom to control your time and your life. So ask yourself, the next time you're tempted by a random impulse buy, what would a financially disciplined person do today? Make the choice right now to sacrifice a little present comfort for permanent peace of mind. Start executing this blueprint today. So, are you ready to stop paying for your past and start funding your future?